When you have a history of greatness, the real challenge starts after the finish line. When victory alone isn't enough, you chase something greater, no matter how difficult the path. On the dirt, in the sand, and beyond. The new 2024 Ridgeline Passport and Pilot, part of our most rugged trail sport lineup yet. From Honda.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, welcome back. We're going to talk sports here. We have Coach Kyle Lasseigne from Eddie White, who's put together a pretty doggone good program over the years. And we're moments before we tape our Saints on the Bayou show, Sports on the Bayou. And we're going to have Eddie White here, Vandebilt here, Covenant Christian. So it's going to be a fun show. But Coach Lasseigne, good to see you as always.
Great to be here. Great to be talking football on Thanksgiving week. That's your goal. That's where you want to be. It means you're in the third round of the playoffs. So always good to practice on Thanksgiving.
Y'all have been so successful at running your program and doing different things. Y'all have gone deep quite a few times. Mm-hmm. So this is not new to you, but you have some players, and especially some of the younger class people coming up, that it could be a little new to them. But how much does tradition play a role when you get in the playoffs? Because I watched Coach Albert years ago with girls softball. It was expected they get there. It's expected with your team in it.
It really is. That tradition, seeing those seniors go deep into the playoffs is something that our young guys expect. We actually talked about that today at practice. The expectation of being able to play deep into the playoffs, and it gives you a little comfort knowing that you've been there. Knowing that you've done this before, you're prepared for it. So our senior group has actually practiced on Thanksgiving every year. So we're ready for that. I told him also today, I said, this comes down to basics of football. No matter how big people want to make this game, you got to block, you got to tackle, you got to defend, and you got to be disciplined. And those are the things that really are going to matter on Friday. So I think our kids are locked in, ready to go.
We didn't have Facebook when we played Eddie White. We didn't have YouTube, yeah. And so when Coach Morvaunt and Coach Fake, Eddie White guys who were coaching us at Vandebilt, when we get in on the film room and we were watching Lenny Ford or Blake McDonald or Aaron Piku or John Tabor, we believed everything the coaches said. I mean, okay, they would tell us that John Tabor ran a 9-200. We're going, man, that's pretty fast. But Facebook and YouTube and everything else, and the kids have instant access now. There's no secrets between Eddie White and Vandebilt. Y'all faced each other. Y'all know exactly what you got to beat with them, and they know exactly what they're going to have to do to y'all to win. There's no secret, is it?
Yeah, absolutely no secrets whatsoever. Our kids know their kids. Their kids know our kids. There's really no secret. So the things that I just said about who's going to be victorious on Friday are really, really true. I think the thing for us that we've talked about this week has been Vanderbilt's a pretty good football team. Mm-hmm. We saw them. We played them just 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Good football team who can beat you. And really that's the thing that we've talked about. And I think that's really, for us, the biggest advantage of having played those guys before. The expectation is there that you can get beat Friday, so get ready to play. It's not that unknown when you've never seen these people before, you've never seen the program, which was kind of what we had last week against Livingston Collegiate. We really hadn't seen them, didn't know a whole lot about them except what you saw in film. So and we're going to use that to our advantage if we can. I think our kids are going to be more locked in on Friday than they've ever been, just because of the fact that they know this could be it.
Y'all have such a precise kind of offense. Mm-hmm. And it all comes down to make the right read. Watch, you got to make the right handoff. Mm-hmm. Pull it out if you see you can get around the end. There's no secrets in what y'all do, but y'all inbred it in them at an early age. They run it to perfection. On the defensive side, I see this every year at Eddie White. There's always a couple of guys I say the word maniac in a good way. They are maniacs on the field. They just will get to the football no matter where it is. They'll run through people, they'll jump over people, and they just have that attitude. You've always had a couple of guys like that.
We really do. Those guys lead our football team. I'll be very honest with you. We've got that. We've got some of that on defense. But we also, you have to be able to run a little bit these days on defense. We run pretty decent on defense. And then offensively, we've been doing this for a long time. Make no apologies for what it is. Look, we don't want to have to put a 12-play drive together every time we score. We'd like to break one, score some easy points. But when you can't do that, when you're going to face somebody really, really good on defense, which Vandebilt was last time we played them, you're going to have to control the football. You're going to have to keep the ball in your hands, keep the down marker in your favor, and then score when you get an opportunity. So that's not going to change for us.
All right, let's do this. We'll take a break. We'll come back for two more segments. A big, big rivalry game in Thibodaux on the turf field. I'm going to ask Coach when we come back, the grass and the turf. I mean, they still got to, both of them got to play the game, but is there an advantage, a disadvantage? We'll come back. Coach Kyle Lasseigne, don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, we're back with Coach Kyle Lasseigne. In case you haven't heard, there's a pretty big game in Thibodaux on Friday night. Edie White, Vandebilt Catholic, both coming off of just lopsided playoff games. So you can't say that they both had hard games. They both were prepared. They both took care of their opponents. Now they face each other for the second time this year. When Vandebilt goes to Edie White, they'll be on a turf field. They're not used to playing on turf. Y'all going to be in a turf field. Y'all sort of used to playing on it. We never got to play on turf fields, even in championship games, because it wasn't in the dome.
Right.
It was at your school. How much difference does turf really mean?
For our kids, I think it's a big deal. We're on it every day. We're on it every day, so we're comfortable on it. When you put us on grass, it's a different footing. It's a different speed of the game. So when we're on turf, I think we're a little quicker. But those things balance out on both sides. If we're going to play on grass, though, we are going to try to practice on grass for at least one day. And then turf fields are so common now that, Vandebilt's played on them, and I'm sure they're comfortable with it as well. So, but honestly, the kids will tell you that it does make a difference.
Yeah. There's no getting around the rivalry. I don't know if the rivalry is, it downright got nasty years ago. Mm-hmm. It was just full of all kind of things. Coaches playing pranks on each other and doing different things. We thought Coach Cam Morvant and Joe Fake hated Edie White. They made us believe they hated Edie White till we saw their coaches and our coaches having a beer together one day. Uh-huh. So we know there's a lot of gamesmanship that goes with it. Are the players too smart for that now, or can you still, as a coach, throw them a little seed and hope they take it?
I'll be very honest, Martin. I haven't said the word Vandebilt at practice this week. We are a nameless, faceless opponent kind of program, and I think the reason for it, I told the kids today, I think there's two reasons for that. First of all, getting wrapped up into a rivalry and maybe the nastiness that goes with it has no impact on who's winning Friday. It really, really doesn't. Right. You may have this extra motivation, you may be extra pumped up, but after 2 or 3 plays, that's really gone. the stadium may be packed, but you're going to glance at that for a moment, and then we're focused on football. So I think that's one reason. The second reason is if you get wrapped up in that stuff, it really zaps energy. You're really taken away from your preparation and your ability to play on Friday. So we try not to do that. Look, human nature says that it's different when you're playing Vandebilt versus somebody else who maybe you knew you were better than. And we try our best to make sure kids understand that we have to have that mentality. If we're going to be successful, why are we wasting things on wasting time on things we don't really control? We don't control how the fans are going to act.
Right.
We don't control the pregame. We control what happens when the whistle blows. So that's really what we've talked about, and hopefully our kids are smart enough not to fall into some traps that you can fall into in this week.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you're talking about Vandebilt, and I've seen the change. They've always had one or two good athletes. They got a bunch of good athletes now. So depending on, when you're looking at film, what are some of the things that you see in Vandebilt this year that's different than in other years?
They play extremely hard. There was a time back when maybe you didn't see that. Coach Wallace obviously has brought that to the program. They play really, really hard. They're going to play 4 quarters. They're going to fight you. They're going to do the things that the old Vandebilt teams used to do, and that's really tough to prepare for because that intensity that they play with, our kids have to understand that we have to match that. And that goes back to what I said earlier. Since we've played them, I think we know now. We know that that's what's going to happen. This is not. There's been some lopsided games in the recent past, and it's not what this is about. So kudos to Coach Wallace and his staff for really, changing things around and getting those kids to really play hard.
When I watched that first game y'all played in, and I saw the intensity of it, it just seems like the game is so much faster than when we played. The kids are all of them across the board have better weight programs. They're strong, they're fast. But what I saw on the mental aspect of that first game that I witnessed, both were knocking the snot out of each other. That was a hard-hitting football game.
Yeah, it probably was one of the hardest hitting games we had this year. And that's the way that rivalry is supposed to be, Martin. Yeah. You know that. That's the way we want it to be. 2 brother schools right there next to each other. You want that to mean something. That's the reason that we play that game week 10, because we want to build up our season to that game, or if we're not in the same district, we're going to play in week 1, and we want to start the season off with that kind of rivalry. So it does mean a lot. It means a lot to both schools, and that's probably why you see a little extra from the kids. But look, when our kids are matched with that kind of intensity that we were matched with on that week 10 game, our kids tend to step up to that. And so I'm expecting that to happen again because why would they change what they do? Their mentality is now what their program is about, and they're going to bring it to us. So our kids will be ready to match that.
Just like in the past, I had cousins that played for Edie White. I had aunts that taught at Edie White. I had cousins that taught at Edie White. So when we went to Mama and Papa's house, there was always this just fierce rivalry. It was under control because nobody in the family got out of control, but there was this unwritten rule. You better take care of Edie White, and I'm sure on the Edie White side, you better take care of Vandebilt. You have good friends whose kids are playing on the Vandebilt team, and I see y'all josh every now and then. But isn't that what makes it fun?
It really does. There's so many people that I graduated with that now work in Houma and sent their kids to Vandebilt and vice versa. That thing just kind of happens. And for the fans, I think if you haven't been part of that in the past, maybe you misunderstand the whole rivalry. But those people that graduated from Edie White that know the Vandebilt people, exactly what you said before, that we went to college with them. We went to professional schools with them. Those memories we hold on to. Yeah. And then hopefully Friday will be some memories for our kids to develop as well.
Right. We'll take a break just in case you hear a little talking. We in the studio getting ready for Sports on the Bayou, which you and your coaches
Yes.
will be here. Vandebilt's coaches will be here. Covenant Christian, too. We made a little pack in the office on Monday. I said, look, Edie White and Vandebilt are going to get a lot of attention, but I want Covenant Christian to get equal attention because they play well.
Absolutely. They sure did.
We'll take a break. We'll come right back. The coach for Edie White, Kyle Lasseigne, he has a great program for many, many years. We'll be back. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, Martin Falls back here with Coach Kyle Lasseigne. We're going to wrap things up. And Edie White in a big game. They're the home team, and they're going to be playing Vandebilt on Friday. And, Coach, back in the day when the brothers used to get together and place bets in the game, and they'll tell you they had a little drink over it, I mean, that was just fun. When we find out the backstories, when we were supposed to be sheltered, and we find out these backstories of what actually took place during the games. And look, you just met my Aunt Miriam. Well, Jared was texting me this weekend. He was giving me the business from Edie White. So got to give him the business back. But I love the rivalry. It's been a good rivalry. A lot of people do business together. They practice together in law. They're doctors together. But when you get on the field, I've seen your demeanor over the year. You could be all friendly and the nicest guy in the world, but when it gets close to game time, you got that game face on.
That's called pride, Martin. Everybody wants to see some results from the hard work that they put in, and and that's a coaching mentality. But going back to the brothers, the brothers probably were the instigators of much of this rivalry back in the day. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of brothers left in our schools. So, but that whole brothers of Sacred Heart mentality stays with both schools now. So
now the priests are on both sides.
The priests are on both sides. I mean, it's really a great thing to see, and that's what I'm looking forward to on Friday. It's just going to be such a great atmosphere that I think there's no way that you can't get excited for that. And I think our kids will feel it. I think our fans will feel it, and there's a lot of people that just want to be a part of it. So it's going to be exciting. And it's a rivalry game aside, it means a lot to both sides.
Yeah. And of course, Coach Wallace, we were asking him yesterday, he's sort of new to the rivalry. He hasn't been here that long, but he said he's sort of catching on real quick that it means something. But like you said, you never mentioned Vandebilt at practice. Can you go overboard on a rivalry to where that, like you said, they're not looking at X's and O's anymore. They're thinking about the rivalry and they're not focused.
It's the worst thing you can do is to be so unfocused that you can't perform. You can't do the things that you were coached to do. So that's really the true reason why you try to calm them down. Look, and they're going to be excited no matter what. But you're going to have to focus on what you've been doing all year long and put aside all that other stuff. And that's part of having that experience. It's part of being there. Having your kids in the playoffs, having them play meaningful football games where, the excitement level is there, but we're going to focus and play football. It doesn't really matter how big the rivalry is, how big the crowd is, if we don't do the things that are going to take to win the football game.
You've been pretty successful at containing Coleman over the years. They have some good running backs. They have good receivers. Like I said, it's no secret that he's going to get the ball a lot. It's no secret they're going to test you on the outside. If you look at any game films, they will do it. But it's, once again, I guess it's people staying in their positions and sort of locking down their position.
Yeah, I think so. I think that kind of running back gives them that breakaway, explosive chance every time he's got the ball in his hands, but they're really balanced on offense as well. Right. And so we have to be sound. We have to be technique sound. Got to try to win the battle in the trenches. That's really, when you get down to it, if you don't win it in the trenches, it's really tough to pull out a victory. So on both sides of the ball, and they're really good up front on both sides. So that's really probably where the game gets won.
We used to talk a little smack after the play in the huddles on the ground. Do they still do that?
They tell me they don't. I think that's a lie. But no, that's another thing that we talk about. You don't want to put yourself in bad situations just because of your emotion, and sometimes that happens. We react to something, or that can't happen in this kind of game. So we're going to have to address that as well.
But Coach, I'm proud to be able to cover a game like this, and I got to say it. Whenever I go to Eddie White to cover a game, the hospitality is unbelievable. I love those kids because I know a lot of their parents. I love Vandebilt. I know a lot of their parents. We just hope for a good game. We hope nobody gets hurt. We hope everybody plays with that Christian spirit that they're supposed to do. But it's going to be a good one on Friday.
I think it will, man. And, Martin, what you're doing for this game and what you're doing for our area is really what this is about. It's a Vandebilt grad who puts that aside and says, man, we need to support Eddie White, and Eddie White people supporting Vandebilt as well. No matter who wins, somebody's going to move on and is going to play again next week. And that's really honorable of you guys, and to give everybody equal time on this kind of stage, I really think is important to our kids and our fans. So great to have you.
Well, when they graduate, they're all going to be friends.
Absolutely.
That's what I try to tell them. Y'all going to become best friends with some of these Eddie White people. So play hard now, but y'all gonna be marrying and doing different things.
Well, they're gonna need some Vandebilt people down the road, and so will Vandebilt. So it happens. It happens later in life.
Good seeing you, Coach.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll take a short break. Friday night, Eddie White, be there. Should be a good one. Is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.